Welcome to Coding Software Application Academy. In this tutorial, you learn variable Python. Variable in Python is one of the most important area that you must learn and understand in order to run a Python program successfully. This is Coding's learning platform. If you don't have an account, you can sign up here and enter the necessary credentials. Then you later prompt to sign in here. Then you sign in, you put your credential, your username and password here, then you sign in. When you sign into Codecad's learning platform, you come to beginners, you click on beginners, you click fundamentals of Python, in the fundamentals of Python, you click start learning, then click number 9. This is variables in Python. So you see by the end of the lesson, learners will be able to identify variable, learn different variable types, learn how to name variables, and use print statement with variable. Start learning. These are just explanation of variable types. So it's something that you on your own you can read and understand. So now this is just a variable. You can assign n is equals to this as a variable, then you print the value, then you have this. So let's quickly move to Visual Studio and let us create a file called variable. So this is Visual Studio. You click here, then as you can see here, from here now you add new file inside this folder, Python folder. So you add new file, you click here. Let's name this one variable. Then variable.py, press enter. So now we are going to test the first one here. N is equals to 300, right? So we can print n. So now when you click here, you can check if this is auto save. Then make sure this one is ticked, which means everything is safe now. So now you can run it here. You click here to run it. You see you have the output of 300 here. So let's go back again. This is what I just did now. Then you can assign another fresh value to what n. Previously n is 300. Let me assign this n to be what 1000. Now copy this. You come here, you paste it. So now let me copy this one so that I'm not waste time. Then let's print this one now. You can see now. Okay, let me indent this one so that you can see the result. Okay, now let me print it now. You see I will just have only 1000, as you can see, because now previously n is equals to 300. Now I have reassigned another value to n, which is 1000. So if I print n now is going to be 1000. So because I replace the value of n, which is 300, before to 1000. So that is how to reassign a variable to reassign value to a variable. So now you can see you can have a multiple variables and you assign them a single value. Here we have x equals to y equals to z equals 300. So we have three variables here. We assigned 300 to each of them. So from here you can decide to copy. You paste this one here. Then you can decide, okay, let me just print these variables and see what you have: x, comma y, comma z. Okay, so now you can print and see. So you can see each of them now. Each of this value has what? 300 assigned to it. So let's go now. You can assign a decimal number to a variable and use this one var assigned a decimal number to. You can print. You can have this. You can equally assign string, to a variable. This variable is where it's equals to this. Then you can print it and have your result as usual. Let me just copy it so that you can be fast. So let me paste it here. This is indentation error. You have to correct it here. So now I'm just going to print. So now I'm printing the word now. So now we're going to have the output down here. As you can see, now I am string. So this is string. Let's go. You can equally print just an integer. Yeah, this is just simple. When you print, it's going to give you 300 as well. You can equally check the type of any data type here with this type. So let me just copy. This one is integer automatically, as you can see the result here. So from here, put this one to equal to this. You print it and see. Let me close it now. Okay, I have to print it before you can give me the output. Okay, I have to print it. Okay, so now this is just the printed now. Okay, you can see this class integer. If I change this one to point, let's say 8, now it's going to give us integer. This one is integer, it's going to turn this to float, which is decimal. Click here, you see float, which is decimal. I can decide to change this one to a list. Let me see. I can put a list. Okay, let me print this type to see. Okay, you can see this is a list. I can change this one to a tuple, and you can give me the data type, which is a tuple. You can print this one now. You can see I have a tuple here. So this program is going to tell us the data type using this type keyword. So that does it for now. Let's quickly go again. Okay, I did this one. Can print it. I did this one. This one is equally just assign a value into. You can assign anything you wish to. But the most important area here is this site. Now, which is a variable name. How to name a variable? You see, name equals to Bob, H equals to this, as W2 equals to true. You can print them and you have this. All these ones they are what valid variable names. But this one is invalid. You can't start a variable with a number. Okay, let me show you now. Let me copy this one and take it to the word Visual Studio Editor, and it is going to prompt an error for me. Let me paste it. As you can even see, automatically it's even giving us an error. So, but let me just try to print it so that you can see what you have. Let me just copy it so that it's not going to waste time, so that the video is not going to be that lengthy. Paste it here, you get error definitely because it's already highlighted it. You see error here. So what about if I change this one to another thing? My fields, it will now work. You see that's no error. So you can start naming a variable with a digit. So that's what this is trying to tell us here now. Okay, for instance, now you see we have num, num, you have nu, this and that. All these things, as you can see, they are not the same. They are not the same. So now this value you see, and this and this and this and this, these variables are not the same. But if you can look at all, they have what? They have num, which is num, but the way they were styled is totally different. So these variables are not the same. So you can print them and this is what you have here. So the most important area here is this aspect now. You see, now if you want to name a variable, let's say for instance you want to inform people about the number of university graduates. So now you can see here number of university graduates equals 25. This is another way of naming a variable. Number of university graduates in capital letter. Everything small letter here, everything capital letter here. This one, the first letter is small letter, everything here is capital, which is what this is what we call a camel method. This one, everything here is in small letter, but they are separated with what underscore. So this method is called a snake. This one, every first letter of this uh, word or sentence is capitalized. So this one is called Pascal method. So and each and every one of them they have different results. But the argument here is that which one is more preferably to use, you know. But Python mostly uses this one, number of university graduates, this one with underscore. So this one represents the select method of naming variable. When you print them all together, you still have the same results because they all carry the same variable here. So it just depends. It's a matter of choice. You can decide to choose anyone you wish here to name your variable. But I will advise you to go with number of university graduate, this one, or the one you can use the Pascal method of naming variable, which is this one, which is Camel methods, which is this one. Anyone you can use it can work, but preferably use this one. I prefer this one. This one. Let me copy this one and run it. Okay, and let me just print this. Okay, so I print this one and we have my 25. You can see here we have 25, right? So that is just it. Uh, you can read other things here. So thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe